Advances in DNA technology have allowed law enforcement agencies across the country to crack decades-old cold cases.
It's also helped investigators put criminals behind bars faster.
But an IT News investigation found that right here in Cuyahoga County, it's been taking forensic scientists longer to process DNA in murder and rape cases.
Investigator Kelly Kennedy broke down the data. She spoke with a medical examiner about the reason behind the increase. She also sat down with a sexual assault survivor who believes the county needs to do a lot better.
My life has been upturned. Emotionally, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It's hard to sleep since he got me while I was sleeping. I'm waiting for these results because it shows his semen was in me. That evidence was in me. Finally, somebody believes me.
Elisa Alfero's rapist was a man she trusted, her neighbor, her friend, a man who had walked her dogs for 2 years.
My dogs are like, they're used to him. They trust him. He's home right now.
But as it turns out, he wasn't the man she thought he was. In 2017, Charles Cross broke into her Cleveland Heights apartment in the middle of the night and raped her.
Can we get you down to the hospital?
Please.
I got my rape kit that night. Now, mind you, they had gone back and forth past his apartment several times that night, never once knocked on the door or anything, because they can't do anything until they get the test.
Alfero says it took 3 weeks to get her results.
My whole life had been upended just by the event itself, just by the rape itself. I had to move out because my rapist lived right below me. Now, what was I supposed to do for 3 weeks? So
she started calling about her rape kit nonstop.
I had heard that they had the results, but couldn't write the report yet because they were busy. So after a week of calls, we finally got the report and got the arrest because the cops can't do anything without the results.
Eventually, Cross was put behind bars.
Although he took a plea and pled guilty to attempted rape and burglary, Judge Safford gave him the maximum on both counts, 8 years on both counts to be run consecutively. So that was 16 years that he got, which is 5 years longer than rape.
While DNA definitely increases detectives' chances of identifying the perpetrator in many cases, it's also led to an increase in the amount of DNA that labs have to process. Cuyahoga County medical examiner Dr. Thomas Gilson says that can put a strain on the system.
Because it is such a powerful crime-fighting tool, I don't think labs were initially ready to deal with the volume of requests.
That's where the DNA Backlog Reduction Act came in. Since 2011, the Department of Justice has given close to $500 million to states and cities across the country to help prevent a backlog of DNA evidence.
When you have that kind of a backlog, leads go cold, or you're kind of, not putting bad guys away.
The grant established a 30-day benchmark for evidence to be processed in the lab. But based off the recent numbers, Cuyahoga County isn't meeting that mark. The average time it took to process rape kits in 2020 was around 36 days. In 2021, it went up to 53 days. And in 2022, it took more than 79 days on average for forensic scientists to process rape kits.
The hard thing about using that benchmark of 30 days is it really talks about what was the state of the art 15 years ago. I came in 2011. We've upgraded the sort of basis of our testing, so we can explore lower levels of DNA than we could 15 years ago in order to generate profiles. The trade-off on that is it takes more time.
So let's take an even closer look at the data. My investigation found that it took Cuyahoga County scientists 50% longer to process DNA in rape kits in 2022 compared to 2021. Now let's compare that with the total number of reported rapes. In 2021, scientists processed 410 rape kits. In 2022, there were 414 rape kits. So almost the same amount of evidence, but it took scientists nearly a month longer to process it. Coming up in part 2 of my investigation, is the increase delaying justice? I'll also take a look at how long it's taking scientists to process evidence in murder cases. In Cuyahoga County, Kelly Kennedy, 19 News.
And you can see that part of the investigation straight ahead at 6 o'clock.